At this time, I'd like to call the regular meeting to order for June 6th, 2023. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Father, we invite you into our meeting tonight to lead and guide us, to make certain that we make the right decisions that will affect all the citizens of Nashville. In your precious name, amen.
Amen.
First on our agenda is the approval of our minutes, and the minutes for March 21, 23, the budget retreat meeting minutes. Did anybody find any adjustments to those minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a budget retreat, the last page. That'll be page 8.
Okay.
This had to do with the sidewalks. Lansing stated that we should have measured every sidewalk in town. Councilwoman Hinton stated that that shouldn't be the responsibility of the person placing the bid. It should be, not should not. There's a contraction there. It should be the responsibility of the person placing the bid. That was my statement.
Okay, thank you. Any other corrections?
On page 6, well, there's so many page numbers here. I guess page 9 of 446 or 7 of 192, page 6 of 191. So it's 9 of 446. Where it's the top of the page, Councilmember Hinton stated that she feels that these are a guideline. There's something missing in here, because I know my statement right after that is that it was statistically significant, not specifically significant. So I believe Ms. Hinton had mentioned something like it was a small amount of people who had done it, and so my response was it was statistically significant according to the company that had done it.
It was done during the pandemic, and so we had very few people who actually participated.
Any other corrections?
Also, on page, as long as we're here, actually it would be page 7, next to the last page in the budget retreat on.
Okay.
Councilwoman Burns stated that the bottom line is the town is not looking at raising taxes now. And the manager Lansing stated, at this time, no, we are not looking at raising taxes. Now, this was during the budget retreat, March 21. That is correct, right?
Yes.
Any other corrections?
Correction, that's just a statement. Okay.
Any other comments or corrections to the minutes? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the March 21st, 23rd budget retreat meeting minutes?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Let's now move on to our next set of minutes, which are the regular meeting minutes for May the 2nd, 2023. Are there any corrections to those minutes?
That one, I have just a typo on page 202 of 446 at the very bottom. Ann Collier, cross out the, went over, and then pull in the next sentence, the timeline for the project schedule.
Any other corrections? If not, do you approve
Oh,
them?
sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
At the very end, on page 210 of 446, I think we're missing the last paragraph, where it says, Manager Lansing stated that the amount of the fine would, and then I don't have anything after that.
Yeah, I noted that too.
So it was just the final discussion that we had what the fine would do, and then I think we approved it with the comments that I had for the ordinance.
Any others? Do I hear a motion that we approve these minutes with the corrections that were unnoted?
With those corrections, move to approve.
Says,
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 The next item on our agenda is the public comments, and remember, you have 3 minutes to speak. You need to come to the podium, give us your name and your address. The first one is Kelton Frazier.
My name is Kelton Frazier, and I live at 214 North Collins Street here in Nashville. Thank you all for letting me speak. I have a little situation on, I have 4 rental houses in Nashville, and one of them is right beside the cemetery. It's on East Cedar Street, and there's a little small patch of land that's 10 foot wide and about 136 foot long running beside my property, which is tied into the little paved street going into the cemetery. I would like to purchase that 10 foot by 136 and let it continue to be our property. My wife and I, Victoria and Kelton Frazier.
Okay. I guess what we'll need to do is just let the Randy let the people look at it and see if it's of any value to us or how, just what to do. If it's just land that we can't use and could sell it, just look at it and see what will benefit.
Kelton, didn't you come before the council before about that?
About 5 or 6 years ago.
I thought so.
I never got to first base. So. Now I'm trying to get beyond first base.
But that strip of land is on the west side of the drive, right?
Right, the little paved street won't be affected.
Won't be affected, it's
It'll
just a
be
strip
yard running up to the paved
right
street.
down the side. Okay.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And we'll get back with you, Kelton, on that. The next person is Jean Taylor.
My name is Gene Taylor, and I live at 109 Meredith Woods Court. And if I may, can I hand these pictures to
Sure.
one of you? On Meredith Woods Court, if y'all familiar with it, it's we live in a cul-de-sac. There's only 15 houses, so there's only one way in and one way out. And we've been having some problems with parking, and it's in one particular area, and it's right there in the entryway as you turn in. If you are trying to make your turn in that car or that area that I'm talking about, you can't make your turn if somebody else is coming. And it's just really becoming a nuisance. And as one of the officers here today that I talked to the other day at my house personally, he came and he was going to talk to them, and obviously it hadn't changed because they're still doing it. It's just not safe. Bottom line, it's just not safe. I'm going to give you an example. Our neighbors, family of 5, was walking down, and this doesn't have anything to do with the particular car that's here now, but one day he was walking down and there was a car parked there, and somebody came in pretty quick, and it could have been a disaster and hit him. It just could have been. And not only that, there's a couple of kids that wait the school bus there, and it's just not safe. And what I'm asking for is to just in that area in front of that house where you see that car, for us to put a no parking sign in there. Anywhere else you park on the street, you're okay. I mean, I park on the street where I live. Some people park in the cul-de-sac. I mean, it's just that particular area needs addressing. It's just not safe. Somebody's going to get hurt, or it's going to be a wreck. And if you're waiting for somebody to come out and make your turn in, now your car is out there on the street, on Church Street. So that's I thank y'all for listening to
And
me.
thank you for sharing, and
Okay?
we'll let the chief look at that and get back with you, Gene. Thank you so much. The next person is Tony Corrigan.
Tony Koenig, 708 Westview Court, Nashville. I'm going to say I know people don't like paying taxes. But you know, Nashville hasn't raised their taxes in a long time. And I think it's unfair that the council takes a lot of heat when they got to pass taxes. You know, there's two types of the budget. The first part of the budget is things you have to fund. You have no choice. The other part of that budget are the demands that people in Nashville want. And people in Nashville have a lot of demands. Don't fund something, you hear about it, right? So the bottom line is, if you want the services, you got to be willing to pay for it. Just how it is, and I think it's unfair that the council has to catch the flack for it. You don't want to pay the taxes, don't ask for the services. And I think most people understand our police and fire department need the money. As I said to Randy one time, ever since I've been in Nashville, and my mother is from Nashville, so I know a lot about Nashville. It doesn't make sense to me, ever since I've been here, let's put it this way. Doesn't make sense. Nashville always says we're too poor to pay our police officers. We're too poor to pay our firemen. Yet we're so wealthy that we're training for the rest of the state. You can't have it both ways. One way or the other. So we've got to raise taxes, we have to raise taxes. And I thought about something else. Most people didn't look at the budget. They just want what they want. They don't care what it costs. Well, you know, now that we have this nice mailing system, maybe what we need to do is just say we pick 10 items. Put a nice little letter. These are the services that you're asking for. We don't need to fund them, but these are the services you're asking for. This is what it costs. This is what it's going to do to your tax rate if you choose to have it. And then vote yes or no, total up. Those they want, you fund. Those they don't want, you don't fund. And then they can't complain to nobody. But at the very least, maybe that solves the problem, maybe it don't, probably won't. But at least these people know what it's costing them for their programs. And one example is, some of the things people ask for, I don't think should be the town's responsibility anyway. And I'm not picking on anybody, but a lady came in a couple meetings ago maybe, and they were talking about pickleball. I have nothing against pickleball. I have a couple cousins who play pickleball here in town. The thing about it is it really Nashville's responsibility to fund their pickleball? If they had that many people playing pickleball, they could form their own club, buy the building themselves, collect dues, and they can pay for the building themselves. Does everything really have to be, paid for by Nashville? And a lot of this stuff's a passing fad. Maybe it lasts, maybe it don't. If it's a passing fad, then you're stuck with the building, right? If it's not a passing fad, then let them take care of it. So a lot of things people are but the bottom line is they want the town to buy it, right? Well, then you gotta be willing to pay the taxes for it. So don't come to the council, demand we buy this and that, and then cry to the council that you're raising taxes. It's one or the other. Just saying,
Thank you so much.
Give that man a rose.
The next item on our agenda is our budget public hearing and budget adoption. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Lanson, our manager.
Sure. So, as council knows, we've had 2 budget work sessions and got through the budget. All of our responsibilities and duties are covered in that. Like I mentioned at the budget work sessions, the department heads went back through their individual budgets and reduced even more. We got it down to about $125,000 of balancing. And at the last budget work session, the council explored options for that, and there was a consensus that we would look at a 3-cent tax increase. So that's what the staff went ahead and put in. What we have tonight is a $19,260,199 FY24. Well, I better get the number right. I think that changed by about 15,000. It did. It's $19,245,145. That's the budget. It's 17% or 3.2 million less than the current fiscal year budget. Larry had asked the question before, how can that, well, we had the ARPA money, we had the coronavirus money that was all forwarded to us last year by the federal government and the state government. And those items were spent and put in the budget and spent. So that's why the current year's budget was larger than what we're proposing now. The highlights of this proposed budget includes construction of Fire Station 2, the remodeling of the rec center, constructing the Nashville Junction parking lot and stage, replacing 4 vehicles, replacing a dump truck and backhoe for public works. We got a new SCADA system in for water and sewer to help monitor the 13 lift stations, our 3 active wells, and our 2 water towers. We got 1.14 million in for sanitary sewer improvements. Later on the agenda, we'll have an item that gets us started on that. Also, we got 100,000 in there for street and sidewalk improvements, 40,000 in small storm sewer projects. It does not include any additional employment or positions. Those are going to stay where they're at. Our police department's at a roster of 22, the fire department at 18, Public Works at 15, Park and Rec 4 full-time, library 3 full-time, 3 part-time, the town administration at 2, the planning department at 2, finance department at 4, and HR at 1. Proposed budget does include a 3-cent increase in the town's property tax rate from 58 cents per hundred to 61. There are some increase in cemetery fees. One of the things we did when we were preparing the budget, we compared our fees with the surrounding cemeteries and saw where we're still very reasonable, but needed, and of course it helps cover the increased cost of operating the cemetery too. There's a $1 per gallon increase in water, but that's offset by a $1 decrease in sewer. Didn't make the list, but there's also an increase in the out-of-town water rates to 125% of the in-town rates. That's proposed in there. We also put in a new $75 after-hours connection fee for reconnecting water services that have been turned off for non-payment. This budget will use about $300,000 in fund balance monies for one-time expenses at the rec center, remodeling the Nashville Junction parking lot and stage. It also maintains the town's fund balance above $4 million, which is greater than 50% of the general fund's projected annual costs. This is kind of a self-imposed goal of the council to maintain our fund balance at that level. A notice was published in on the town website in the newspaper of a public hearing on this budget tonight, and that the budget was available at the clerk's office for public viewing and inspection. So now is the time for that public hearing to commence.
Do I hear a motion for us to go into the public hearing for the budget?
So made.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come? We've already had one and say anything pro or con for the budget? If not, are there any council members that would like to speak?
Yes, Randy, would you explain the rationale for the $1 increase in water and the $1 decrease in sewer rates?
Sure. When our finance director, John O'Keefe, was examining our revenues and expenses, our water revenues were such that we could decrease, but then the sewer revenues were falling behind. I'll let John explain it. John, would you mind?
Randy, before we do this, since there was no public hearing, we need to come out of that, don't we, so we can discuss?
Yes.
Okay, so do I hear a motion that we come out of public hearing?
So
moved.
Okay, all those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, John?
Basically, sewer has been subsidizing water for this year. It doesn't really matter because it's all within the same fund, but realistically, water-only customers are getting a subsidized rate by the sewer customers. So this is just making it fair for all customers, and water-only customers aren't getting a free ride, not a free ride, but a subsidized ride.
And I think that needs to be very clear, that rationale.
We can make sure that's in the minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Also, I had a question about the 300,000 taken from fund balance for the junction and for upfitting the rec center. Is that in addition to the 125 that we had earmarked for the rec center? And
No, it's about 350, and that is the town's portion of the junction, not including the Senator Barnes money, and the original 125.
okay, we originally had 275 that the town had put aside for the junction parking lot.
Correct, and we've spent some of that this year.
Okay, so this 300,000 is in addition.
350, but yeah, 350 is the appropriated fund balance.
Not in addition to what we had originally
No,
stated,
it's
though.
the same. It's the
Right.
same as we originally did it. It's just that's what the appropriated fund balance came back out to be.
Any other comments from the council? If not, then I guess, do I hear a motion to approve our budget for our next fiscal year?
Mayor, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the fiscal year '24 town budget. And you asked about comment. I didn't comment, but I feel that this is a very good budget. There's a lot going on in Nashville. Everyone knows that prices are going up. It's not that we want to raise taxes, but we're in a position where in order to continue to keep good staff, which we have, this is an important thing. As well as the other things that we have established that we want to move forward and try to do to keep Nashville prospering and growing. So I do support the 3-cent tax increase.
I'd like to make a comment here. I always brag on our citizens, but I'll have to tell you, when it came out that we were raising the taxes by 3 cents, I did not get one negative call. Every call I received, everybody that stopped and talked to me, pretty much repeated what you just said. And that tells you a lot about the citizens, because we as a council, our job is to keep the citizens safe above all. And you know, with the situation, you know, with Rocky Mount salaries, and we can't compete with them, but we did want to do what we could for our people, and I just am so gracious for our citizens and their attitude towards this. It meant a lot. It makes us proud of the time we work for them and makes us want to work even harder.
I agree. The only comments that I've received specifically stated that our goal of supporting our staff and just making sure that everyone is taken care of and keeping the level of service where it is, they all agreed that it was time, so.
I would just like to say that next year is revaluation, and everyone will be paying more taxes based on the fact that your home is valued at a higher rate. On top of that, our finance director has indicated that next year we will probably have to raise property taxes 4 or 5 cents again, in addition to revaluation.
That's next year, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've got to have a vision. We've got to have faith. That's next year.
And as you always say, we don't go by what ifs, and we do not know what the reval will bring. So we don't know about any 5 or 6 tenths tax increase. So let's look at what the reval brings, and we assess it at the time.
And make the best decision we can for the citizens again.
But this is a projection from our finance director, which we have to take in good faith. And in a $19 million budget, you would think that we could find $125,000 in savings.
Did you find it?
It's always easy to raise taxes. The hard work is finding savings in a $19 million budget.
But how long has it been since the taxes for Nashville have been raised? Our sewer and everything, we're having to play catch up. I mean, it's a time and a seasons where you just have to do things.
We've been told we can cut toilet paper and streetlights. Is that where you want to go? I mean,
I think that when you say toilet paper and things like that, that's, you know.
Please give us a suggestion.
We could
What
go
is the
through
resolution? What do we
If we
do?
went through the budget line by line, I think we could find savings enough to prevent a 3-cent tax increase. Because next year, people will be slammed. and we're kicking the can down the road.
Well, I disagree with you. I'm
I
sorry.
disagree also.
I mean,
Yes.
I believe the glass is half full, and if this is this year, I want my citizens safe this year. I want them happy in Nashville this year, and next year we'll do what we need to do. But I mean, we can't live in fear. We've got to live in faith that it'll be a better year next year.
By state law, during a year of revaluation, which for Nashville comes every 8 years, and of course, we are estimating that the property values will increase fairly substantially. It will be at that point that the council will have to evaluate the tax rate. I don't necessarily see an additional 4 or 5 cents. I think what will happen is when everything is brought forth and we're looking at the budget again, it will be evaluated, and it may be that we have to increase some or we may not. We won't know until that day gets here, so I don't think we need to go down the road 12 months from now, when right now we've got to do what's necessary to keep Nashville working properly. We've got to keep our staff paid. I agree that public safety is a critical part of it, but there are a lot of things that we do in Nashville in addition that are important. And with the town growing the way it is, we're trying to make sure that this growth is measured growth, that it's growth that's going to be beneficial to the citizens as well as anyone who comes and visits the town. So I fully support this tax increase.
So did you make a motion?
I made the motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. And to add to what has already been said, the comment of kicking the can down the road, we've kicked the can down the road for a long time. That's why we're in the situation we are now. I think we may have kicked the can a little bit too often. And if you look at the tax rate for Nash County compared to the other municipalities in Nash County, there's only 2 other municipalities that has a rate lower than what we have, and that is Castalia and Momire. And I really don't think you can honestly compare Castalia and Momire to the town of Nashville. So I hate that we have to raise it, but I'm glad that we only need to raise it 3 cents. And a lot of people said, that's my tax money that you're talking about. But folks, I pay taxes just like you do. And it comes a time when we need to stop kicking the can and go ahead and try to do the best we can. We take pride in our employees. We take pride in the citizens of town, because you go to other neighborhoods our like size, and they have problems that we really don't want to have. So I think it's not a good thing to sit up here and pass a budget to increase taxes, but sometimes we all have to pay the piper. So.
And I think it might be helpful, we did have in our packets and put together an example of different homes and what that increase would look like.
Exactly.
We did.
And just so that the public can see it,
Yeah, put it up. And for
So-
those that don't know, that's where I live. And yes, mine went up too.
so the difference, what the additional funds would be coming out of Mr. Taylor's pocket is going to be $78.58 for the year. So in the grand scheme of things, we're not talking about paying extra thousands of dollars per year. He's paying an extra $78.58 per year. So on all of these houses, which you can take a look at, you'll see what your yearly increase is going to look like. I think mine was around $48.
44.
There we go. Even
44.
less.
And to be safe, I cannot go out and eat 2 or 3 times.
To make the difference.
To make the difference,
Exactly.
you know?
It's, with my family, it's one night out at McDonald's. No, I'm talking one time for the year.
So we've had a motion and a second. So all those in favor of approving this budget, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the rec center lease. I just have to tell you about our director. He did story time Thursday.
I missed it.
And his story was about Noni the pony. And he brings a pony, a real little therapy pony that was adorable. Well, guess who has to follow him? Me. And I have to read a book on kindness, so what can I do to show kindness? Go ahead.
That
You're
was not
great.
very kind of me, Mayor. I apologize. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. So as you know, the town currently leases the building we're in using as a rec center at 108 South Body Street. That lease does end in December of this year. We are working on getting our new rec center upfitted. We have those plans drawn up. We are waiting on a parking lot layout so we can get the zoning certificate from planning. Then those plans will be ready to go to Nash County, get their seal of approval, and we'll be ready to bid out at that time. Unfortunately, we do not foresee that construction being done by December of this year, and are requesting to extend the lease at our current building. I've spoke to the owner, Mr. Williams. He is willing to do a 6-month lease extension at the rate of $1,800 a month. And what we have for you to consider tonight is just a copy of the lease agreement and a resolution to extend that lease.
How much time do you anticipate from start to finish it will take for us to renovate that building once it starts?
I don't think it'll take long. There's not a whole lot of work to be done on the inside of that building. However, until we get through that bid process, I think at that time we'll have a better idea of what we're looking at. But since we're here in June, we're probably looking middle of July at the earliest for Nash County to get those plans back to us. A month for bidding puts us in the middle of August, so I really don't foresee that happening in a 4-month time period. And, you know, I did ask Mr. Williams if he was willing to consider a month-to-month lease. The shortest term he would do was that 6-month extension.
That's understandable.
Yeah. But you know, people really do use that rec center on Saturdays, and I guess showers or parties on Sunday, because I go by a lot and.
Yes, ma'am. If we don't have a program, we're booked up almost every Saturday, and now it has gotten to the point where a lot of Sunday afternoons and even some weeknights that we have rentals in that facility.
But y'all really had some great programs. But anyway, this is about the lease. Do I hear a motion that we approve the resolution 2023-22 extending the town's lease?
So may.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so kindly. The next item on our agenda is the Glover Park Fence Project, and we have someone here. Thanks for coming.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Today I'm here to request funding to get the fencing fixed at the Glover Memorial Park. As you know, earlier this year we approved the agreement, extended agreement through June 30th of 2025. And in that agreement, it stated that, you know, the town should allot $20,000 for park improvements at Glover Park for fiscal years 23, 24, and 25. And it also gave us the option to approve projects over the allotted budget, with the expenditures being reduced from the next fiscal year allotment. When I came here earlier this year, the project that we spent was roughly around $34,000. Leaving us with $25,755 through fiscal year 25. And if you've been at Glover Park, you can clearly see, I sent some pictures. I don't know if y'all seen them
We
in the
have
packet.
those, yes.
Yeah, the fence, it's been a hazard for us, for a safety hazard for the past 12 months, and we really like to get that fixed before we start football season this fall. At this time, I entertain any questions that y'all may have.
Do you have any idea what caused the fence to collapse like that?
I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Can you tell us how the fence was collapsed like this? I mean, something had to force it?
I would say wear and tear, and potentially the players trying to slow down, pushing against the fence. But when myself and one of the contractors went out to visit the park, the fabric is not the strongest fabric on the fencing. So That fence, I want to say it was installed, the park was built in 2002, if I'm not mistaken, so it's been roughly around 21 years since the fence has been put up.
How many linear feet are you planning to put up? The entire baseball field, football field?
Correct. And
And
that
that-
was, that,
And that's the inside fence, not the outer fence?
correct, and that was 978 linear feet,
978, okay.
correct.
But you will have your ball tournaments out there this summer, right?
Yes, we have one this weekend on the baseball fields.
On the baseball field.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the desire of the council for this field fence improvement project?
I move that we approve.
Is there a second?
I second. I just have one comment that we just be smart about the replacement. I spoke with Thomas a little bit earlier tonight. The field goal is right in front of what it looks like the back portion of that fence. And I understand that at that age level, they really don't kick field goals, but if it makes more sense to move the fence a little bit farther back or over, whatever it is, it doesn't necessarily need to go in the exact same place. Whatever makes the most sense to go around the football field, whether it means
Okay.
a little bit farther back.
And I will get with the contractor and see if it's be an additional cost, and if so, I'll email the council or email Randy and Coy and
Okay.
get that to you as well.
Okay.
With this being approved, how soon do you plan on getting this done? When is
So
the
I plan on
contract ready?
taking it to the Board of Commissioners on the 19th of this month, and once they're approved, we're looking to get it started immediately.
Okay.
So now, what does this do for, so it's gonna come out of our current budget, correct? And it will reduce
It will, so.
what is gonna go into the 2024-25?
So at the moment, we have $25,755 left through fiscal year '25,
Okay,
and that would just reduce and be roughly around 11 grand.
okay.
Yeah,
Left.
left.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, 14 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, my math ain't right now. Around 14 grand.
Fuzzy math.
So we did vote, didn't
We did vote.
we? I thought we did go. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the annexation petition, Randy, for Forest Hill Cemetery.
Thank you, Mayor. Not sure if council is aware, but the north 6.8 acres of the Forest Hill Cemetery is not in town limits. And I thought it was fitting that the town-owned cemetery all be wholly within town limits. So we needed a legal description to complete the annexation petition, and I sought out the help of Donald Hillhorse, the surveyor, one of the two surveyors in town. And he went out and surveyed it, came up with a legal description that's in the packet, and measured it all up, and it is 6.81 acres. And at this time, I bring this forward to the council for considering pursuing the annexation of this 6.8 acres. I did notify the county administration, gave them a heads up about this, and I heard back from Stacy Schatzer that she and her staff don't have any problem with it. I assumed she was gonna pass it on to the commissioners, but I would be surprised if anybody has any objections about this property coming into the town of Nashville. I think most people feel and believe it already is.
Absolutely. So do I hear a motion to approve this resolution 2023-23, directing the town clerk to continue with this annexation?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the fire service agreement.
So Chief Joyner, would you mind? Before he takes the podium, there was a request to add a little additional language that I forwarded on to the town attorney this afternoon, and he put that in. I'm not going to hand out the whole agreement all over, just the page that was impacted with the additional language. And Kate, after, or Councilmember Burns, after Chief Joyner tells us of this agreement, if you wanted to bring the council up on this.
Okay, Chief Joyner?
So what this is, and I'll use this example when Nashville has a fire or something go on, there's mutual aid departments. It could be Cooper's, it could be Momire, it could be Red Oak, are automatically dispatched into Nashville. Rocky Mount does not use an automatic dispatch because they've got 7 departments. The west side of Rocky Mount, they need more assistance. Where they spot annotated the spot on Old Spring Up Road, they know that we can get there faster than them, and they have some more spots on that side of town too that they want us to come and assist them. But that is the one spot right now. I think it's spot A or whatever it is on the.
It's on the screen.
Yeah, on A is where they want us to go, where they did it. This is also the part that was brought up in the Nash County meeting about spot annexation that Rocky Mount did. But that is what they're asking for. They're asking for us to be dispatched at the same time the Rocky Mount units are. They've not used any kind of mutual aid dispatch like this before, and that's what they're asking for, is us to be dispatched on the initial dispatch for us to respond, because we have a faster response than they will on that side.
But they're gonna still respond, all right?
They'll still respond. We'll establish, we'll do a fire attack if we have to. We'll do whatever we have to on that. Now, the road there, that's still our jurisdiction. The only thing they have is the residential property homes. So if
Is
one of
that
those
the part they
houses,
just annexed?
they just took in the houses. So if something was to happen, one of those was on fire, we get on scene, we'll set command and do our initial attack on the fire. Once they get on scene, we would switch command over and we turn the property back up, the fire control over to Rocky Mount. That's all
Okay,
we're doing.
got you. So Kate,
I just have one question. It seemed to be that there was a spot that they could get to faster than we could, according to this.
So
Yes.
they're saying Shell Castle, they would, because that's straight in.
on Old 64.
One thing they need to remember too, now they'll have 5 roundabouts to go about, and we only have 2.
Right. And
So that may slow them down.
didn't
But
think about
honestly,
that.
when Station 2 comes online, Station 2 is only 1 mile and 4
Right.
tenths from there, so
Right.
we're way
Okay.
closer than they are on that.
Okay, so that, I guess, brings me to my point about termination. So in here, they had termination, they had amending it if it went before the town council and the Rocky Mount Council, and everyone agreed to amend it in some way. And then there was termination for some sort of default, and you could terminate automatically if you did these certain things. But there was nothing for if the agreement just wasn't working out, or once we do have Fire Station 2 online, we might not need this. And so then I think a different agreement entirely would probably be something that we would work out with them. So I just wanted to add something that we could just terminate it at any time for any reason with, I guess, 3 months' notice is good with you?
Right.
Okay.
That's good.
And I would like to add something on to that too. This is a benefit for them and us, because now we'll get straight mutual aid credit when the insurance rating for Rocky Mount coming to us, and it'll be the same for them.
Okay.
So it's a benefit for both of us.
Okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve this?
So made.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the MSD facade grant for 723 South Barnes Street. Good evening.
So I'm coming before you this evening in regards to the Nashville Junction located at 723 South Barnes Street. And Michael Hurt had submitted a facade grant application that was actually reviewed and discussed thoroughly by the Downtown Nashville Strong Advisory Board. And so their recommendation was to have the town council approve the $5,000 grant. So the actual cost, that's, I believe on the last page in that particular packet, the actual cost of everything was $334,856.25. And minus the roof labor, so that wouldn't be a part of the exterior part as a requirement of the facade grant. So minus the roof labor, it would come up to $287,488.25. But the max match that he could get is $5,000. So they're recommending that this be approved by town council.
Okay, do I hear, do you have any questions, or do I hear a motion to approve this?
Move to approve.
And that's coming out of the MSD fund.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? No. Okay,
Thank you.
motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the sewer manhole sealing.
So I had mentioned when we were discussing the budget about 1.14 million in improvements, and part of that, we got, myself, Lee, and Taylor got together with Mike Tolson, with Matt Gain Associates. He's the engineer that's doing our asset inventory assessment. He's the one that's been sticking his nose in our manholes, finding out which ones are leaking. And he said, you know, it's money well spent to seal those up. They're easy to get to. It's relatively painless. You hire a company, they come in and put stop leak in all the holes, and then they put a coating on the inside and seal it all up. Good, hopefully for another 20, 25 years. So with that in mind, that in combination with cleaning and televising sewer mains and finding the ones that have leaky joints and then slip lining those, which is it's harder to do, it costs more money to do. We thought we would get started right away with this new fiscal year with a contract. We've been using this company, CTR Coating, out of Knoxville. Actually, I think they're Tennessee and not North Carolina. They are Tennessee. Anyway, they have a proprietary system that we've used twice before and have had excellent luck with it, or results. So I asked them for a proposal to do basically another 60 manholes. That would get us up to 105 of the approximately 160 that the engineer says we have significant leak problems in. And that contract, it didn't make it in the packet, but I believe Lou passed it around just before the meeting. And it's not to exceed $150,000. And I talked with the company today, and their calendar for July is filling up fast, so he wants me to let him know tomorrow if this is a go, and his crew will be in here the second week in July and get it taken care of for us. And our finance director, John O'Keefe, can attest that every time we do a round of manhole sealing projects, he can see it on the bill with the city of Rocky Mount. It goes down, which is nice.
Yep, it certainly is. Are there any questions about this, council? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the $150,000 contract with CTR Coatings to seal the approximately 60 sanitary sewer manholes?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the approval of some budget amendments.
Number 19 is Senator Barnes gave fire department's money. This is just recording the receipt and the ability to spend that money in the amount of $28,000.
Do I-
Move to approve, move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Next.
Number 20 is the receipt of the Golden Leaf money for $188,000 for the grubbing and clearing.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Number 21, this is about streets overtime. It's over by about $6,000 and just more than originally anticipated overtime, and there's not other line items in the streets budget to cover that overage.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Next.
The next one is getting rid of budgeting for the transfer from the general fund to the water sewer fund in the amount of $885.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion approved. Next.
The next is budgeting to increase the general fund's contribution from the general fund to the fire station from $55,000 to $555,000 in this current year.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Budget, that one is approved, amendment approved.
If you guys remember it on the 8/16 meeting, there were two issues with the salary study that had to be corrected. One that impacted building maintenance, and there was enough money in that account to cover it, and one that was in cemetery. what we decided was instead of spending 40,000 on a cemetery vehicle, we'll spend 20,000. We ended up spending 19, so this is lowering that from 40 to 20, lowering the transfer and using 10,000 of that to move into cemetery.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Budget amendment approved. Next.
This is 5,000 for the NCLM safety grant to do key cards at the police and fire building.
Safety grant. Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Budget amendment approved. Thank you so much. Well, that's it. Are there any comments from any of the council?
Mayor, I would like I appreciate all the citizens that came in tonight, and I especially want to thank the gentleman for standing up and saying, realizing how hard it is for us to pass the budget. But sitting here reading this stuff, look at all these adjustments just made. It takes a lot of money to run a town the size of Nashville, and you can't do it without having the
And keep it a
funds.
good town.
And keep it a good town, because if you stop doing what we're doing, it's going to gradually go down. And then once we get down to the very bottom, it's going to take much, much more of a tax increase to bring us back up to a standard that we want to live with. Thank you for your comments, and I hope everybody sees this on YouTube or reads it in the paper or whatever. This is a hard job to do, but I'm proud to be on the Council of Nashville, and we only do it because we know that's what we got to do to keep what we've got going right now. So thanks to those that understand and help us fight the wars when they come at us. But I don't think they're gonna come at us this year. I really don't.
Anybody else?
I'd just like to thank Randy and the department heads, all the staff members for working on the budget, John for all the efforts you put into it. It is a monumental task, and I know it was a lot of work. I know that you all tried very hard there at the end to see if there was any way we could make this budget balance without a tax increase, but it became apparent that it was needed. So I just really do appreciate all the effort that was put forth by staff.
Any other comment? Randy, do you have any other comment?
I just wanted to point out our fire department has a drone and we've been using it. They went and got some pictures of the Nashville Business Center now that it's all grubbed and cleared and seeded. And I'm happy to report that last week we were awarded another Golden Leaf grant, which will help us rough grade the north lot. $407,000 coming to the town of Nashville that we can hire a contractor to adjust the elevation difference on that north lot, which will then allow the town to pursue that interlocal agreement with Nash County for the construction of a shell building on that lot in the coming year.
That's exciting. And I'd just like to say to all the department heads, we think you're great. I would give you all $1 million if I could, because you're always caring about our citizens, you have the best attitudes, and you're always looking for what's best for the town of Nashville. And I appreciate everything you did, cutting out and everything, but I just want to say I am very proud of each and every one of you, and I just thank you for the job that you do for our town. Any other comments?
Well, one final thing, Mayor, if you look on the wall behind you, I don't know
I
if
saw
any of you
that.
noticed that,
Very
but
good.
we did get the water tower logo put on the wall.
Very
That's
And
good.
It's very nice.
That's great. It looks
you
nice.
can have it put in the back too if you want. It didn't cost a whole lot to put that there.
Well, it's sophisticated and simple.
Well, it's a good place for us to take pictures
Right.
in front of it now.
If there's nothing else to be said for the meeting tonight, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So made.
Is there a second? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is adjourned, meeting is adjourned.